Hello, everyone. Come on in. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips, and welcome to Just Connect. And I'm so glad you guys are here today because I have so many special guests, and I can't wait to introduce them, but I'm going to do a little bit of a review. So those of you who are watching on Facebook, yay. And you can catch us on the replay if you're missing it. I'm also going to put up here my little YouTube channel as well so that you can subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure that you turn on the notifications so that anytime that I drop a new video or a show in there that you can see it. Come on in, put some comments in here for my guests because I'm super excited because this is going to be a fun and very informational episode today. So before I introduce them, I am going to play a little intro video and then we'll be back. Okay, so enjoy this.
I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips, host of Just Connect. I am an audiologist, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and a connector. This life is about connecting for the right reasons and to the right people. I believe making authentic and true connections lead to growth, change, and impacting the world.
All right. So without further ado, you have seen some of the people that I have put up here, and I'm going to add them to the stream here as we're still waiting on a few, but we're going to start anyway. And John, I am going to take that off your face there. There you are. Okay. And we have some people joining in here saying hi. So I've got some amazing people, business owners. I've got somebody in finance. We're waiting for somebody to come on that is going to talk to us about real estate. And I'm super interested and excited to share them with you because they're kind of all of my friends here in Northern Colorado. And even though you're not part of Northern Colorado, I think this is going to be really applicable all over the world because everybody's going through this. So I definitely wanted to bring on some business owners, walk through how certain people are, Brandi told me that she's here, so there she is, how certain people are handling different things in their businesses, and I want to introduce them. So I'm going to have people go around and just let's see, introduce yourself. I'm going to start with Marie, and we're going to kind of go clockwise. So Marie and John Beck, say hello, and we'll just kind of go around and introduce. Tell me who you are, what kind of business you're in, and yeah, we'll just start with that.
Great. Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
I'm Marie. This is my husband, John, and we are restaurant owners in Fort Collins. We're the third generation in my family to own Paninos on Prospect. And we're mom and dad to two teenagers.
Yeah, that's ditto. She said it all.
Well, how long have you had Paninos in Fort Collins?
We've had personally Paninos for 12 years. We bought it from family members who had it 8 years before that. So it's been here 20.
Okay, awesome. All right. Jalyn, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jalyn Webb, and I actually own a couple businesses that are connected here in Fort Collins. The Academy by Divabee, which is a performing arts after-school program for kids ages kindergarten all the way through adults through our online private lessons. And I own Divabee Productions, which produces new and original theatrical experiences throughout Colorado. And I also am an actor and singer here in Fort Collins, and will be doing some things at the Candlelight Dinner Playhouse coming up here in the next year or so.
Awesome. All right. Jesse. And by the way, so sorry to cut you off real quick. I forgot to tell you, I am also posting links to their companies and their businesses in the comments right now. So you can always go ahead and click. And then I also have it in the post. So if you need to get a hold of anybody on this live feed tonight, that you can contact them. Okay. All right. So go ahead, Jesse.
Cool. Thanks, Natalie. My wife and I were actually watching CBS Sunday Morning this last weekend, and David Pogue was talking about the new working and living at home and surviving that balance. And so in my office right now, it's very calm and peaceful. However, out these doors right here, I have two young ones and a dog. And one of the rules is apparently kids and animals are welcome at work now. So if you hear any noise in the background, just know that And we have a full house here, but like Natalie mentioned, I'm in financial planning. I'm the director of director of financial planning for the Yoder Financial Group. And my name is Jesse, and we work primarily with individuals, families, and business owners in Northern Colorado, but also across the state and even the country in key areas of financial security planning. And in one sentence, if I had to sum up our mission is that we inspire people to align their actions with their intentions to enjoy financially secure lives.
Awesome. That's great. All right. And Brandi.
Yes, hi, my name is Brandi Broadley, and I'm a realtor and partner with the Group Real Estate here in Northern Colorado. I help buyers, sellers, investors, pretty much all of Northern Colorado, so all the way up to Wellington, all the way down to Thornton area. Along with Jesse, I have a 6-year-old here at home and a dog, so if you hear some noises, same thing here.
Okay, so today what I really wanted to focus on is let's go to some of the business owners. I love that we have a restaurant on, and I love that we have somebody in the performing arts, because these are, restaurants, everybody is being hit right now. And I see that Andrew Webb came on, so we're going to bring him in. All right. Awesome. So everybody's here. So Andrew, before we kind of go into our second round of questions, you came in at the perfect time. And so what I want you to do is I'd love for you to just introduce who you are and what you do. Can you hear us okay?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, we can. So just tell us who you are and tell us tell us about your business.
My name is Andrew, and my wife and I own Bindle Coffee. We're a coffee shop and bakery in Fort Collins. Is everybody here in Fort Collins?
Yes. Yep. So we've got John and Marie Beck. They are from Paninos in Fort Collins. Then your sister. Oops.
We've met.
Right over there. Yep. And then we've got Jesse Jorgensen. He is from Northwestern Mutual. And we've got Brandi Broadley right next to you. And she is a realtor and a broker here in Fort Collins. So everybody's actually in Fort Collins, which I love. All right. So thank you for making it in. And so we're going to kind of go around, and we'll start with John and Marie. And I want you to tell me a little bit more, being in the restaurant business, what's been going on since COVID-19 hit, since social distancing, and what are some of the things that you're noticing just with your business?
Yeah. I think a couple weeks ago on a Monday, John headed off to work with a sense of resolve, like, we're going to get through this thing. We're going to make we're going to trim some things, and we're going to offer some new things, but we're going to get through this. And that was the day that Denver and then the state of Colorado issued the order to close dining rooms. So it felt like 7 roller coasters in one day. And by the end of the day, we were pretty crushed thinking of the 240,000 restaurant workers in our state and the 30 that we're responsible for. So we had some pretty heavy days after that, trying to figure out what in the world this would look like.
Yeah. And have you seen a lot of support from the community since that happened?
Yeah. Immediately following that, our community showed up in ways we couldn't even dream of. It has been pretty incredible to be a part of.
That's awesome. And I know, our office has tried to order some lunches for our staff. And we've done some gift cards and different things like that. So we're hoping that, I know it's not the same as having your doors open for a dine-in, but hopefully, it's one of these things that people will remember, all kinds of restaurants that are all over the Northern Colorado area to be able to support them, because you guys are still open and are making food. So I want to make sure that that's, a point that we're not dark like New York, right? Yeah. And so I want to make sure that people still understand that there's a lot of restaurants out there making food, and that you can either pick up, or there's lots of different deliveries as well that are available.
Yeah, thanks, Natalie.
Yeah, it was important to get on all the platforms. So as many places that we can be online to have people find us. We want to be there just so people that are looking and want to support local can do that.
Yeah. So have you shifted, when you say the platforms, have you shifted to try to expand where you are? I mean, I knew that you guys were on Facebook, right? Did you have to start up some new social media platforms? Is that what you're talking about, to make sure that you could get everything out there?
Yeah, Instagram became a lot more important than it used to be. And Facebook is huge right now to get the local crowd in.
Awesome. So they can find you on your website, which is listed below. And then now you've got Facebook, and now you've got Instagram. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay. Jalyn, why don't you talk to us about how your business has kind of seen different things that has gone on, and maybe share some of the things that you've noticed with maybe your students or other things just in the performing arts community that might need some help.
Sure. Well, I'll talk about it from two angles quickly. And much like John and Marie said, it felt like we lived 8 lifetimes in about 72 hours that weekend before spring break. There was so much that we didn't know about. I also teach at the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, and that was sort of the first little roller coaster hill was classes and our seniors showcase in New York, and our trip to New York canceled. And the next thing that was really tough, as you know, because your daughter's a part of it, we'd been working very hard on our production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. We were at the Lincoln Center here in Fort Collins and renting their mini theater, and we had made it all the way through our final dress. School was still in on that Friday, and we thought we would get in at least one performance. The governor had said earlier that day that 250 or less would be okay. And that quickly disintegrated in a matter of hours. The Lincoln Center sent an email originally, I think in the early afternoon, saying we were on, and then about 3 hours later said everything was canceled. As someone who works with a lot of young people, I think that was the hardest thing of all of this, was seeing those faces and telling them that they couldn't perform. We're looking forward to finding a venue when this is all over and we can go outside and see each other and perform this again. So that was really hard. It's really hard to think about taking an entire artistic, performing-based, really one-on-one performance and classroom-based things onto an online platform. And the other thing that I really want to mention, because I think the Fort Collins has always been so supportive of the arts, and a lot of people don't really understand that most of the actors and actresses that work at places that you love, like the Candlelight, like Boulder's Dinner Theater, like every theater in the country, a lot of people have a plan B or a plan C to sort of survive, but everyone's plan B or C that works in the arts, for the most part, 90% of those people work in either retail or restaurants. So not only was their main source of income just pulled out, every other possibility that they do was pulled out in a very short amount of time. These are also gig workers. Entertainment people work a lot of 1099 kinds of jobs. They're contract jobs. So there's zero security, zero insurance, and zero chance for a paycheck. So these are the people that we're trying to help the most right now and find ways for them to have funds. I'm a part of the Denver Actors Fund, which is actually for the entire state. It says Denver in the title, but it's the whole state. They're a medical fund typically, but they've created very quickly a sidebar called DEAR that is giving $250 stipends to actors right now, just when they apply, to at least help with immediate needs and groceries. But it's a hard thing right now for actors and actresses and musicians. And we're very thankful. It looks like the federal bill that was just passed has, for the very first time in a situation even close to this, included self-employed, those types of workers.
Wow. And some of it, and can you tell me, it was called DEAR, is it DEAR?
AR.
Okay.
It's part of the Denver Actors Fund. You'll find it on the Denver Actors Fund Facebook page or denveractorsfund.org. There's just a little subcategory that is helping with specific COVID-19 needs and situations.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the comments here. You know, and it's and even I was thinking the shows that we see too, some of these performers come in and they live here for just a certain amount of time, right? And so here they are where they, you know, they don't know how long they're going to stay. I don't know if they got out in time to go to technically their home. You know, there's all of that as well. So they're only here for a certain amount of time while they're performing on stage. And even with the show Joseph that was canceled, it like we were torn in our house because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm holding on because they're going to perform tonight. And here's my husband like sending an email to you guys going, I'm not too sure it's really, you know, it's really that important. And I was like, did you just send that email? I was like, they're going to perform tonight, you know, and like we were torn just as husband and wife, whether or not we should be rooting for this or not rooting for it.
Yeah,
So
it was so tough. And we had made a decision as a team at the Academy to really just follow the governor's, you know, state and federal and city regulations. So we were trying to also not instill a lot of fear, but also be appropriately cautious and follow the guidelines. But the guidelines, it was like nothing I've ever seen because the finish line kept changing every 25 minutes. It was a new do this, do this, do this. So I think that was the hardest part.
And how are you pivoting now? Because you're doing some really fun things online and you've got everything going to still have lessons. How are you pivoting with anything, you know, as far as social media and trying to stay in front, getting your business to stay in front of people, just like Juan and Marie?
I think the biggest thing is that we are offering online lessons with myself, and I do have a few other teachers if I get overwhelmed that have taught with me before that I will be bringing on board to teach private voice lessons. We'll also be able to offer beginning piano and guitar if people are looking for those things. That's new for us to try to get through this, and I know that we have a lot of parents who quite honestly, just want their kids to do something else besides bug them for 30 minutes or so. So that even if you don't care if they're learning something in the arts, you can say, hey, it's special music time and get rid of your kids for a little amount of time. We are also trying really hard to keep kids all over the place engaged in music and creativity because it is hard to do something like this on an online platform. And that's why we created our hashtag daily dose of Divabee. And we have a calendar posted on our Academy page with challenges every day for kids to create either with singing or playing the piano or lip syncing, even doing a dance. We don't care. We just give them a category. For example, today's is holiday music, Christmas, Hanukkah music, their favorite version of that. And then at the end of the week, we vote as a team and we're going to be giving out some prizes. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And you have been getting some people very, very young as well as people from, you've got a music teacher in New York as well.
Yes, my friend Ben
sending things in. Yeah, so that's
has been on Broadway several times. Is a dancer, has done some cruise ships. Was a singer and dancer at Radio City, and he's actually will be one of our teachers, our overflow teachers, as we kind of expand this online platform for a little bit. And he's having a ball. It's just, he calls me every day and says, this is so fun. I'm so glad as an adult to have somebody to take my mind off this for, 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's, even though we're all going through this and it's crazy because it's a great equalizer. I mean, we're all going through this around the world. So it's not just in our area of Northern Colorado. It's not just our state. It's not just our, country, but everybody. And so whatever we can do to spread positivity. I mean, if you guys are looking, if you're scrolling through and you're like, there's like so much negativity right now. Head over to the Academy by Divabee and watch some of these videos. I mean, music will definitely make you a lot more positive, giggle a little, and enjoy it. And then maybe you might want to submit something too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's fun. Okay, awesome. So Andrew, I'm going to go to you. So we'll stay with the businesses with Bindle Coffee, and tell us a little bit more about what you've seen in your company, as well as maybe how have you had to pivot as well. And I know that you're doing some really fun and new things too during this time. So yeah.
Yeah. So we are just a small coffee shop cafe, and we kind of like, as things were unraveling, we're trying to kind of stay like a day ahead. So we kind of implemented things like before it was like, I don't know, the normal now. So it was like, okay, let's start sanitizing things. Okay, let's start only letting a certain amount of people inside. And then every day it was kind of different until it was like, no more than 10 people, stuff like that. So we've kind of, we pretty much overnight launched a next day delivery, free delivery in Fort Collins of like bulk pastries and staples. This week we're getting ready to launch like 5-pound bags of flour, yeast, just like things that people are having a hard time finding.
Wow.
Just kind of like pantry staples, I guess, because with our like food provider, we have just access to like a 50-pound bag of flour.
Wow.
And so we'll just be dividing that up and adding that as like something you can add to your order with like cinnamon rolls or whatever. And we were doing curbside orders of all of our like just basic coffee drinks, and we're kind of, once they issued the stay-at-home order, we put a hold on that temporarily just to make sure that would be like, it's allowed, but we just want to make sure that we're being responsible and like not causing people to like leave when they shouldn't be leaving. So that's been kind of a weird conversation, I guess, like what do we need to do to survive versus what is the like right thing to do to like keep everyone safe. And it's just kind of balancing that. And I think there's a version of both that we're taking the next week or two to kind of figure out like what is the best of like both worlds of that concept of like being able to provide stuff every day at the store, and also do next day delivery and stuff like that. So it's been fun just being out. We have a little transit van that's just like a little box truck kind of looking thing, and we've just been door to door, like trying to make people feel happy.
Awesome. And
I took stuff to Jalyn too.
Are you? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you giving away a free roll of toilet paper with your delivery?
Oh, yeah, we started working on that before it got as bad as it got.
Okay.
It's called the Bindle Bunker Blend. It's a 2-pound bag of coffee, and it comes with a roll of toilet paper. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. That is so awesome. Yeah, I saw that. So I was like, I wanted to ask you about that. And it's so interesting too. So I'm going to jump in just with my health and medical world too. And it is a hard decision of what to decide, what's right and what's not. And even for us, I was on a 2-hour phone call last night with audiology owners all over, our country. And it's trying to define what's essential and what's non-essential, right? Here I am driving in the morning, going to work, passing by Paninos, and thinking, okay, like this is a ghost town and I'm still driving in to work. For me in the medical field, we were going to do curbside, right? We run out there, clean your hearing aids, fix it, whatever. We'll bring it back. Everybody's gloved, everybody's masked. Now we're not even doing that. And so now we put out, you have to, we swab your forehead and take your temperature. And if they don't pass the temperature test in some of the screening, like nobody comes back to see me at all. So it's been almost like a daily, and I don't know how you guys feel too, but it's almost been like a day-to-day decision in whether or not we're going to keep our business open, whether we're going to let employees go, whether we're going to let them have, stay at home with pay, no pay, whatever it is. And so it's really hard. And I don't think that there's any right or wrong answer. Although I just want to make sure that people support each other, no matter what their decision is to stay open or not to stay open, Yeah. So, okay.
Do you work with Dr. Lowry?
Yep. That's our office.
I think you just did ear impressions for me like 2 weeks ago.
I might have
for in-ear monitors.
It's against HIPAA guidelines, so maybe I might have
the long pink stuff.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I'm
so
pretty sure it was you.
we were on like a practice run, and we were all laughing because we thought, okay, every one of us knows each other, may do business with each other, and it's quite funny. So it's possible. It's actually possible. Okay, so I'm going to switch to Brandi, and I wanted somebody that was in the real estate world to talk about what's going on there. What are some things that you're seeing, your clients that are asking you, is there any changes? Have you had to pivot at all? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So first I wanted to just kind of address our real estate market as a whole here in Northern Colorado, because over the last 7 years, we've been booming here in Northern Colorado. We haven't really shifted like the rest of the United States has kind of slowed down over the last couple of years. We continue to be a very busy, appreciative market. And I don't see that changing. So I want people to know that obviously there's going to be people that lose their jobs. There's employment changes, but we are still very much short on inventory in Northern Colorado.
Wow.
As a country as a whole, and I do a weekly Tuesday tip on my Instagram and Facebook. So last week it will mirror what I say tonight, but we're 5 million households behind in the United States based on the number of people that need places to live. And so I don't see the real estate market crashing by any means, just because we do have that lack of inventory. I do think that we'll see some shifts as far as people losing jobs and trying to sell and that kind of thing. I had several clients under contract when this is all kind of happened, and those people held on to their properties. We've gotten really creative as a company to do like drive-through closings. I have a drive-through closing on Wednesday that I will not be attending because it's not critical for me to sign on paper or with a wet signature, but my client is driving up. She's buying a house. And she's a nurse, so that adds a whole other element to keeping our title closer safe because she's a nurse. And so just really as a company, we've put in several protocols on keeping people safe because real estate is a critical business. There's people that have to move and relocate and have to keep their timelines to close on time. And so what we've implemented as a company is just to use technology as much as we can. So for this client that's closing on Wednesday, for example, we had to have her do a final walkthrough, and we ended up doing it via FaceTime. So the listing agent had to go to the house, so he called her because she's a nurse and didn't want to have that contact, and so she did her final walkthrough on FaceTime. So we've done showings that way as well. That are having to buy. I've sold several houses to people that are out of state anyway.
Sure.
But for the most part, most of us know what our clients are looking for anyway. So if they really, really want, if after a FaceTime showing, if they know like, yes, I absolutely want to buy that house, but I want to see it in person, absolutely. But just limiting some of those pieces of exposure has been one thing that we're doing. We're doing lots of screening before showings to make sure no one's been in contact or had flu-like symptoms. But otherwise, I mean, as far as loans go, for buyers, it's a great time to still buy because interest rates are still low. They've been fluctuating on a day-to-day basis on what's happening with the stock market, but one day they'll be in the 4s and the next day they'll drop to the low 3s. And so I mean, even a 4% interest rate is awesome. So lots of people have also refinanced. I've made calls to several of my clients that I know have jobs that have been affected and let them know like, hey, you have a ton of equity in your house. It might be a good time to get a HELOC just so you have access to cash while your job's kind of in limbo. So just trying to be a resource for people in that way too.
That's awesome.
But in general, my business is slower right now than it normally is in the spring market. So I normally probably have 3 to 5 new clients a week. And I'm like one client that's like, hey, once this is all over, I want to start looking. And so what I'm expecting is our spring and summer market's going to probably be summer, fall. It's going to shift a little bit. It'll be a little different this year.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, Jesse, share with us what's going on in the finance and investing world. How have things changed? Have you gotten tons and tons of phone calls, worried people, of excited people, do I buy right now? Do I sell? What's going on? Do I hold my investments? So answer a couple of questions as far as what you've been having to field in your office with Northwestern Mutual and Ryan Yoder's group.
Well, the answer, Natalie, is yes. We've had any and all of the above. So if any of you have been watching your investments, especially the last 4 to 6 weeks or so, the markets themselves have taken a substantial hit from what's going on. So we've had some clients calling in saying, holy cow, were we prepared for this? How are we doing? What does our financial plan look like? And are we still on track to reach those goals? We've had younger clients, and maybe not always younger, but oftentimes those opportunist clients saying, we feel good about our plan, and do you think now is a good time to invest more since the markets are so beat down? Or are we able to buy our shares for less expensive now than we could a while back? So we've had a number of calls with clients, very few changes in our strategy. So what we coach to our clients, and what I would encourage any folks listening to right now, is to revisit your financial plan and review your plan. If you don't have a financial plan, I think now is a great time to start with addressing things like, what are our answers to the what ifs in life? What if I pass away unexpectedly? What if I get sick or hurt and can't earn an income? One that many folks, a what if that we've talked about for years with clients, but many folks unfortunately are experiencing is, what if I lose my job, or what if my income is interrupted for a period of time? And so we encourage our clients to have the right types of insurance. Cash reserves are a big part of the risk management process. And so typically we're coaching clients to have anywhere from 3 to 6 months, maybe 6 months ideally, of cash and cash reserves on hand for times like this. And that advice, while it might be helpful over the long term, there are people asking you right now, hey, Jorgensen, that's great in a perfect world, but what if I'm finding myself with very few cash reserves currently? What do we do? Brandi brought this up earlier. Maybe a refinance is possible. Maybe it's not, depending on where rates are. If somebody has access to a home equity line of credit, maybe that's somewhere, if they don't already have those cash reserves, that they can access money in the short term to help them get by. The federal government, in this recent CARES Act that came out, they did allow now qualified retirement plans. So things like our IRAs and our 401ks, that we can access about $100,000 of the account without paying penalty if we're before 59 and a half, if we're younger than 59 and a half. So we still have to pay tax on that, but at least we're not being penalized. So there are resources around us, and we're really encouraging our clients to talk to us, their other advisors in their life, their CPAs, their attorneys, their bankers, to get answers to those questions.
Wow. Okay. That's incredible too, because that was one of the things that I sent over to my financial planner too. And I thought, okay, what are we supposed to be doing right now? I know that rates are going down. Is it time to look at renegotiating different things? But I love that that advice of just have the conversation, look at the what ifs. And it's funny because when you said the what ifs, those are some of the things that when you do sit down with a financial planner, you're kind of always like, yeah, that's never going to happen to me, But it's interesting because some of the very smart business owners that I've had conversations with in the last maybe week, I have one audiology friend in California who their business has a 6-month reserve, cash reserve. And so they can access that. They did close their doors. They did, lay off their staff for now, but at least the owners have a 6-month cash reserve. Another conversation I had just maybe 2 days ago with a car dealership. And I was shocked, but he said they have so many dealerships that their monthly payroll is like $1 million. And I'm just like blown away going, what? But they were smart enough to be able to, he said they had saved so that they can pay all of their employees and not lay anybody off for 2 months, which means that they have a $2 million reserve. And I was like, holy cow. But I mean, that's again one of those things that they were very prudent and smart to have those conversations with their financial planner, whoever got them set up that way. So it'd be interesting. Like, I know that, you know, everybody says that this is once in our lifetime, but it might be something that you have this conversation with a financial planner if you don't have one, because I think it's interesting to start thinking that way. If it's not for right now, but maybe for the next generation that's coming up behind us, right? Because I think it's super important to start thinking about those types of financial investments as well, not just the current ones that are going to get you to retirement. So thank you. Okay, so we are going to go around the roundabout here again, and we're going to start with John and Marie. And I want you to tell me, like, put it out there, you know, people that are watching, your friends, you know, family, our communities, that we're going to share it out to. And by the way, if you're sharing, I mean, if you're watching this, share it out, you know, so that more and more people can see some of these businesses to support, as well as questions that you might have about real estate and about financial planning. So I want people to know that there are these resources in our own community. Do it in your own community as well, but share it out. If you don't have Facebook, if you have a friend that doesn't have it, this is live streaming on YouTube as well. So you can get it on YouTube right now. So going back to the restaurant business, John and Marie, you know, what are some of your asks or your needs of the community, like right now or in the foreseeable future, you know, that's pretty near, that you might need from us?
Yeah, great. A couple immediate things are just to keep ordering. I think we're all going to continue to eat. So to be thinking of whose jobs you're saving when you're choosing your meal. So thinking local. We care about the non-local places too. They provide jobs for the people in our city. But a lot of those, like you said, have bigger reserves than restaurants like ours. So thinking local. And I think one of the things that we feel really passionate about in this is our own generosity, propelling the generosity of people in our city. So John this week or last put together like a super discounted family meal. And then with the charge to think of who else you could feed. So we're charging people less with the hope that they'll buy two. We have a list of families in need that there's one going out tonight. A boy I went to kindergarten with who doesn't live in town called Paninos because he saw it on Facebook and paid for a meal and said, can you find a family to feed?
Oh my gosh.
So we were able to feed a single woman who's raising a little boy and lost her job. So I think our biggest ask is to think generously, and we're trying to then respond in generosity, sort of holding the tension that Andrew mentioned of how do we do what's socially responsible and what it takes to keep our own employees employed and our family fed, while making the same possible for others. So I think that's one for us. What else?
Yeah, I think just really we're trying to push that one right now. Is it's a feed a family of 4, and it's $29.99. You get salad, breadsticks, and a big thing of baked pasta. Really nice meal. And I think we did a push today, and we saw I think 6 or so donation meals come through. So we'd really like to get that out there and have more people feed their own families like that, and then be able to feed more families that are in need in that way.
I'm typing that in. Feed a family of 4, call Paninos. And you made a great point, Marie, because you don't have to be local to support you. So your friend that called in, you know, they don't even live here, and they just called in, you know, purchased a meal, and you paid it forward. So, you know, if you can't think of a family or you don't live here in town, you can still go online. Their website is right there in my post, in the comments. You know, there's no excuse. And click that and find their phone number, call them, and you can always pay it forward that way. So I love that idea too. That's a great point, that you don't have to be in our community to support you guys. So that's great.
Thanks.
All right. Okay. Anything else? I don't want to cut you off at all.
No, we've had Bindle at our door. We really miss Bindle. I really miss Bindle. We had Bindle at our door, and we're like, one of the things in our forecast is to have our kids in a show with Jalyn, and it's not in our budget anymore. So I think the impact of this, we're all super connected.
Yeah.
It's like 6 degrees. It's like a half degree.
But I do want to see your kids doing the daily dose then. Like they need to get.
Yeah, totally. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. We feel delivery is great. Some of the local delivery companies and national delivery companies have, you can correct me if I say this wrong, have like lessened or taken away the delivery fees.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So where they used to take a large portion of the profit, they aren't, which enables us to put that back into our payroll for our staff. So delivery is great, and we're still doing some takeout also.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and their food is amazing.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we're eating it every night. That's all I can afford.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Jalyn, what are some of your asks or needs at this
Oh
time?
boy. Well, I think the biggest thing that people don't completely understand is when you produce a show, you pay a lot of production costs up front and you recoup that through your ticket sales. So our biggest hit came when Joseph was canceled because we don't own a theater at this point. We're in the process of that happening over the next couple of years. Might be a little bit delayed, but we're still on track for that. And so when it was canceled, the Lincoln Center, which was the right thing to do because that's the right thing to do, refunded all of our ticket sales. We had 3 sold out performances. So in a push of a button in 2 minutes, we lost about $12,000, which is pretty big for us. And that was money that was already spent that paid for our teachers and paid back the costumes and the props and the lighting designer and the sound and, all of those things. So, our first ask is if you have enjoyed our Academy shows or you purchased a ticket and it is in your budget to once you get that refund, which I think they're going out this week, to donate that back to us, because our plan is to do a free performance of our show once we're out of all of this. Since we will no longer be able to use the Lincoln Center, we will be calling on some places, some churches who have reached out that will most likely help us to do those performances and just have a donation bucket out. If you see these Academy, these Daily Dose of Divabees, you can always donate through the 2 different Venmo accounts, which are at Jalyn-Webb or at Arts Reach Center. And then just, keep the faith, keep the faith. We are hopeful and looking forward to being able to do things in the summertime if we all do our part. And a big part of what we do is we give a lot of scholarships to kids and partial scholarships. And there are some things in this tax relief or this government relief that will hopefully allow me to use that for payroll to be able to focus what I would normally spend on payroll, which I've kind of lost. And have that opportunity to hire those teachers and use that money for that, which means that the other money could be used for more scholarships. So it kind of goes around. And the last thing I will say is, I think a lot of us, it's evident, I know a lot of you are big givers. And a lesson that I really learned this week was my heart and intention has not changed just because the amount of what I can do is smaller. I still am able to do those small next right steps. Like we can't afford to order every day, but we can once a week when I get that extra lesson. And so I sort of set my baseline. And once I got above that, that meant we could order from a restaurant or order from Bindle. And that allows them to be able to create things like John and Marie just did to gift another family a meal. So just because you can't be as grandiose as you normally are, you can do small things, and all of those small things add up in a really big way.
Absolutely. That's a great point too. Awesome. All right. We're going to go to Andrew. What can we do for Bindle? What are your needs? What are some of the things that you're noticing that people can take advantage of with your business right now?
Yeah. So I think kind of like John and Marie, just to order stuff, and it's going to be me delivering it to your house, which is pretty fun. And one thing that I've been seeing that's been pretty cool to watch is like, I'll bring something to someone's house and they're like, what, like, who are you? What is this? And I didn't realize till it was happening that like somebody typed in a different shipping address. So like people are like buying stuff and sending it to like other people all over the place.
See.
So it's happened like probably 2 or 3 times of like every day where somebody's like, what, like, who's this? And they're like, who's this even from? And then I'll tell them and they're like, oh, I didn't realize. So that's really fun to just like be a part of that. And I guess just keep an eye out. We've expanded. There's not really a way with the way we have it set up to like contain the radius of where it's going. So we have had like orders come in like Timnath or Windsor. And so we created like I've been just like adding that on and detouring like a half an hour to go to Windsor or whatever, which is great. But we have added like specific days. So if you do live in like Timnath, it's Timnath and Windsor is Wednesday. And if you live in Loveland, it'll be Thursday. So like if you just order the day before and you live in those places, then we'll do like an extra like route. So it's more like worthwhile, I guess, to go up to those extra outskirt zones. But
that's a great point. And I'm thinking, so when all this is over, there will be a Bindle Loveland and a Bindle Windsor, right?
We'll see.
You're getting your business out. I mean, you're getting your business out to some of these different neighborhoods. So I bet you're gonna want those different places to pop up. So just FYI, I'm always sending you things like, hey, so you could be doing this and that, and you know.
Yeah, and one thing we are launching this week is a curbside pickup of like the bulk things at our roasting space. Just like if you do live far away and like want to come, and we'll bring it out to your car. But we have some limited hours from 11 to 1.
Okay.
Where if you do want to just come, or you live super close or something, we had someone message us that they live in Greeley. And so they want to be able to come and do a curbside pickup of stuff. And we have whole bean coffee or ground coffee, English muffins, like stuff that's like not just, we don't want to just feed people purely like cinnamon rolls, but we're trying to kind of modify our menu. We're adding granola and cartons of oat milk and just more of those like staples. So if that's stuff you need, we're adding that to our kind of everyday updating what we're able to offer and that kind of stuff. So
there's certain days for deliveries. Brandi, did you hear that? That's the 3rd location. So I'm just telling the real estate person here on this call, like after this is it, they're going to need 3 different locations. Okay.
Yeah,
and then another one is curbside, right? Is that every day or Monday through Friday?
Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 1.
Okay. All right. And then John and Marie, just to go back to you real quick, hours that you're open for people to pick up.
Yeah. So Monday through Friday, our hours now are 11 to 8.
Okay.
And then Saturday and Sunday we're from 3 to 8.
Okay. All right.
Can I add in on behalf of the restaurants and for people listening that a big important thing, just because being in the service industry a long time as an actor and having those be our side gigs, a lot of actors are out there being delivery drivers and just trying to survive. So please consider as you're making those plans how you're tipping these people, and don't forget that some of they're the frontline people. They're the ones going from house to house and in the middle of this pandemic. And if you can, increase that tip just a little bit beyond what you even normally would, or make that a part of your budgeting and planning, is to continue to care for these drivers. And a lot of restaurants are having tip you can tip online as well and just add that to what your order is. And they're using that to keep people employed and to have people, even if they're not there, that's part of the pool to make sure that we have these places to come back to when this is all complete. And John and Marie and Andrew, you might speak to that as well. That I just think that's another little important piece.
Yeah. I'm just smiling here because I'm the entrepreneurial brain here. So I'm going, wait a minute. So I would pay extra if I were ordering something for another business, that if that I knew that was an actor or somebody, I would pay extra to have a singing telegram with that delivery.
So Andrew, I think, does that all the time. Just
I don't know.
Andrew, that's your sister right there. So, I'm sure you probably have the chops too. So if you're probably in that van.
Yes.
Really?
I haven't done much singing deliveries, but actually we did do some like Justin Bieber deliveries, but
see what I'm saying?
We were singing Yummy. We were singing Yummy for a while because,
I mean, that's extra cash, extra big tips. So anyway, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, just add that on as one of your things, put in your Bindle, cart for singing telegram on top of that. So, okay. All right.
And a song.
Just a Bieber delivery.
And a song. Okay. So Brandi, tell us a little bit more about some of the things that maybe you want to just maybe give advice to for some of the people. And I know you went through some of it, but, it's fine to repeat it or add whatever you want to add on to that as well.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of needs or asks specifically for my business other than just as a whole for people to not let fear change your decisions or plans. So not making, long-term goals or long-term financial or real estate decisions based off of our short-term circumstances. So personally, I try to diversify all of my investments, and I had on my plan this year to buy a rental property, another one. And I still intend to do that. It might be later in the year, or I'm still keeping my eyes peeled. But even personally in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I don't want to spend my down payment money because I might need that if I don't close a few more deals this year. But just trying to not operate out of fear for those long-term decisions would be my biggest point that I want to share with people, because that has a trickle-down effect, just like anything with people that aren't ordering out anymore because they're concerned or making those decisions out of fear. So, and then I'm really thankful that we live in the community that we live in, that all of us are very small. We have a lot of small businesses here, and it's been really awesome to see people adapt to this change and see how they can continue to support each other. So in the back of my mind, again, I'm like, well, I want to keep ordering out. I want to keep doing the DoorDash and the Grubhub because that's what we were already doing, and just gear that more towards some of those local businesses. So that's my advice.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And Jesse, what about you?
So a couple thoughts here, and the first is, as I mentioned earlier, sticking to your plan, and to Brandi's point, not making any changes in behavior unless we absolutely need to, based off of short-term circumstances. And Natalie, quick question for you: Am I able to share my screen to show one visual here to the audience?
I think so. Do you have a little? I have a little thing that says share screen, but I haven't done it before. Should I try it?
I'm going to try to do it right now.
Okay, see if you can do it. And if not, it would share my screen. Can you do it? Let me see if I can take some of this stuff off. Do you have a tab that says share your screen?
It says it's sharing.
I don't see it.
Nobody else? Okay. Well, all I was going to share is that this too shall pass. And Jalyn mentioned this earlier of keeping the faith. And the visual I was going to share was past major either U.S. events, world events, even past sicknesses like swine flu, those types of things, and how the markets responded immediately to those and the substantial loss they incurred. But then what do they look like 3 months later, a year later, 5 years later? And we always come back. Sometimes it takes a little longer, other times it happens pretty quickly, but this too shall pass, and we will make it through it. We encourage our clients as a part of any good financial plan that giving should be a part of that. And frankly, that spending should be a part of a financial plan. It might sound funny to hear a financial planner talk about spending your dollars, but that needs to be a part of any good financial plan. And as I was listening to some of my fellow folks on the call today, maybe part of those can be married right now. Maybe spending is a way to give back to our community and support those businesses that really drive our economic engine here locally. So stick to the plan, keep saving, try to set aside some, or keep cash on hand right now for the next few months. But otherwise, I think this can be an opportunity of years to come.
That's awesome. All right. Great advice. Okay. So thank you guys so much. We're going to kind of get wrapped up here. And again, I want all of you that are watching this to share it out, to help some of these businesses, to take some of this great advice that we've got from these experts as well, and pass it on to people that you think that need this information. And I love a lot of their points. I know that I hope I didn't have anybody that could add some of the comments in, but as we go back and go through, if you are watching this on the replay, add your comments in about some of the great points that each one of these business owners and experts added to the show today. And so I just wanted to thank each and every one of you guys, and hopefully our paths will cross again in better terms, but we still have each other right now. And I'm so glad to be able to support all of you, at least on this platform, and hopefully in person really soon. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I will be here next week again on time at 5:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you to all the guests today. And I hope everyone has a great night. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.